right? So children were internally displaced. They ran and came here with basically nothing. But now in 2022, I got in 2022 for my first time. And that year, you know what they told us? They said, this money is not your money. It is not your money. They are sponsoring you to study so that you can help your community. It's not just all about yourself. You will not say me, 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 me. No. They're empowering you to help another person. All right? So it may happen that they pay your school fees, they do everything, and some money is left. It will not come to you. So have that in mind. Can we see that slide again? So more than 80 scholars supported since 2021. I think by now there should be more than 100, because in 2021 there were 30 or more. My first batch, 2022, were 23 of us because competition had set in. 2023, there were only 20. And you can imagine that as each year passes, the number of applicants increase. And imagine that the number of applicants are increasing, but the number of selected students are reducing. What does that tell you? That if you are to apply, you should be ready to compete. All right? Be ready to compete, because a lot of students are having 33 points at the O levels. A lot of them, they have very outstanding transcripts. They have good community engagement. So what is that thing that will set you apart in your application? Next slide, please. So scholarship support. The foundation supports scholars by paying for their educational expenses. I've said that already. Tuition fees, textbooks, and exam fees. Next slide. Okay, the mentorship program. So beyond providing financial support, they help scholars to explore new possibilities. Now, it may happen that you are in Form 5, you are about to write, and maybe you don't know why you are doing science or why you are doing arts. Are there some students here like that? You don't know why you want to be in future. You are just doing science because, you know, they say, maybe because you like maths, or you are doing arts because you think science is difficult. Yeah? Okay, you know what you want to be, right? You know what you want to do. Great. Clap for yourselves. So this mentorship program also helps you to weigh your options when choosing a career path. Maybe you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an entrepreneur. Your mentors would help you to choose the option that best aligns with you, your motivation, your passion, and that place where you can create the most impact. All right? Next slide, please. Next slide. So we have financial support, we have mentorship, and then we have initiatives, developing academic and extracurricular initiatives to build skills and discover new opportunities. Now, let me give you an example of this. During my first time, that was 2022, we had these weekly meetings where we would learn different things like emotional intelligence, empathy, qualities that you should have as a leader. We had weekly meetings for this during my time. So those are examples of such initiatives, and they are very helpful for you as a student. We have fireside chats, quarterly meet-up with outstanding young Africans who share their journey and perspectives with our scholars. So there was this scholar from 2021. His name is Ndi Winston. He had 25 points at the advanced level. He was one of the first Eureka scholars. Right now, he's in the USA. He's studying engineering. There is another one. His name is Mokom Joel. He's also in the USA. I don't know what he's studying. But those are the kind of people that when they have gone out, they gather experience. They come back to meet this young generation, like the 2025 batch. Who is a 2025 Eureka scholar here? Let me see your hand. Yes. Cherish, I'm not seeing your hand. You are one. Good. So, those who have gone in before and have useful experience, they come back to talk to you who are still upcoming, to tell you their stories and how you can avoid some of the mistakes they made while growing. So you see that it's helpful, right? Next slide, please. Let's look at the application process. How do you apply? Now, look at that eligibility criteria. Look at the criteria. You should be in Form 4, Form 5, or lower seat. Meaning that if you are in upper seat now, you are not eligible. Because the application portal this year would open in March, around the 16th, or around the 26th, rather. So if you're already in upper seat, you are not eligible. They support Form 4, Form 5, and lower seat. So if you're in lower seat, you apply, and if you get in, your school fees for upper seat will be paid, your textbooks, and your GCE registration. Now, the next criterion is you should be under 21 years old. Is there anybody here who is above 21, who is still in secondary school? The next thing is you should demonstrate empathy, demonstrate humility, and ambition. They want to see how ambitious you are. They want to see how big your dreams are. They don't want people who are just limited maybe to Bamileke or to Pinyin or to Bafusam. You grow up here, you want to school here, get married here, die here. Is that the kind of life you want? No. We want people who want to cause a change, who want the world to know of their names. All right? So they should see that ambition. If you cannot portray that ambition, then your chances of getting in are very low. So the application timeline for this year, March 20th, 2026, that's when the application portal will be open. It's still tentative, we are not sure yet. And then it may close on the 16th of June. Now, before you apply, you check your eligibility. Are you eligible? So if you are already 22 years old, you are out now. If you are in upper seat, you are not eligible. Good. So check the eligibility, prepare your documents, your academic transcripts or your report cards, and your proof of community engagement. Hear very well. Your proof. Now, there are a lot of symposiums like this one, seminars. There are some seminars you attend, they give you a certificate of participation, right? Now, certificates like that, those are the things that will serve as proof of your community engagement. Or you could get somebody to recommend you. It could be your pastor in your local church. It could be a community leader, I don't know. Maybe if you're in the media department, it could be your media leader. It depends. So they should see that proof that you are doing something that is helping your community. All right? If not, you are already, your chances are already low. So take note of that. Then the application, everything is done online. You complete the form, you submit online. And now let me share this little experience I had during the very first time I applied. And luckily for me, I already knew about community engagement at that time. We worked on a project to help some single mothers. We taught them how to make cakes, peanuts, chin-chin, donuts, things like that, right? And then we gave them money to start their businesses. So all that was funded by the 1 Million Leaders Africa initiative. I joined in 2021. That was towards the end of 2021, then back in 2022. So we implemented our project around November 2022. So by the time I was applying, since we had already been going through some trainings, I had recommenders. I had people who could recommend me. So you should get. Now, let me emphasize on this recommendation of a thing. How many of you have a teacher you don't like to see? Let me see your hands. I also, there was also one teacher I did not like. Now, what happens? You will need your teachers to recommend you. So you should have a very good relationship with your teachers. So even if you hate, no, let me not use hate. Even if you don't like your teachers, at least try and like them for the sake of your scholarship. Eh? Yes. Are you getting? That's a secret I'm giving you for free. All right? Love your teachers. It's very important. I cannot overemphasize this point. Love your teachers. You don't know who will recommend you. Now, in my time in Form 5, we had a female maths teacher. Female. My first time of seeing a female maths teacher was because I schooled at Churchwa there. How many of you know Churchwa? Yes. It was in that school that I saw a woman teaching maths for my first time. So, but I grew to love her because I loved the subject. But there were some teachers I did not like my geography teacher. Hello? Now, imagine that maths teacher I like so much, she does not have an email that you can use on an online form, but that geography teacher that I don't like has an email and he's very versed with the online world. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? So you see what I'm saying, right? So you don't know, listen, silence please. You don't know which teacher would be an asset to you later in your future. All right? So build relationships with all of them, all your teachers. You should not be the kind of person that when the math teacher enters the class, you start sleeping. Or the physics teacher. Some say physics is even the worst. Build your relationships with your teachers. All right, let's see the next slide. Good. So let's talk about the interview. This is another interesting part. Another interesting part. How do you ace your interview? Now, when applying, so remove the slide for now, please. Let me talk about your essays first. You have essays to write. How many of you like writing essays? How many of you hate writing essays? My hand is also up. I hate it too, but I have no choice. Now, there are essays where they will ask you, maybe from the essay prompt, they'll tell you, describe a challenge you have faced and tell us your experience and how you overcame that challenge. And then they tell you 500 words. You get it? So you should, now listen. The purpose of the essays in the application is to help them select. Because imagine that they have launched a call for applications, and then you have 1,000 students or 2,000 students all over Cameroon. They apply. And maybe out of those 2,000, maybe 1,000 of them had perfect scores, 33 points. And they have very good transcripts. They have, 18 plus on their report cards. How will they pick the 20 that they need? It's from your essays. All right? Your essays help you to stand out. They help you to demonstrate who you are and what you've done for your community. So if you are unable to write a compelling essay, you will not get in. How many of you had an A in English, O level? How many of you did not have an A in English? See, now, in writing your essays, right, they will always encourage you that grammatical errors can be tolerated because they understand that some of you are from French backgrounds doing English education. But the purpose of the essay is for you to tell your story. Say how you've grown to be who you are and how you will be useful to the foundation. There was this question, during my first year, we had 3 essay prompts. This essay on challenge and how you overcome was one. It was the main essay, 500 words. Then the other 2 were 300 words. But now in the second year, they removed one and replaced it. And do you know what it was? They asked that Why do you want to be a Eureka scholar? Why should they choose you? That is a chance for you to sell yourself. All right? Sell yourselves. Do you want me to give you some of my secrets? How much are you going to pay? So, talking about essays, just write down these few points. Point number one, you should be authentic. Be authentic. Now, what does that mean? You should be yourself. You should write about yourself. You cannot carry that essay and give it to somebody to write for you. That person is not you. That person has not experienced the challenges that you have experienced. That person has not grown in the home that you've grown in. So only you can write about yourself. So be authentic. Point number two, tell your story. Now, writing an essay, especially these essays that have to be 500 words plus, it's boring when you just see a block and you have to read through. So what is it that will keep that admissions counselor, what is it that will keep that person reading your essay till the end? It's the story. You telling your story. So your essay should be more of narrative, all right? You are not arguing with somebody, you are narrating. Next point, you should show and not tell. Show and don't tell. Let me explain that a bit. Show and don't tell. Now, what do I mean? For example, I can tell you I am resilient. There is nothing to prove that I'm resilient, right? Some may believe me, some may not believe me. But in your essay, you cannot just be writing, I am a resilient individual, I am this, I am that, I am empathetic, I have sympathy. It should show from your story. For example, how do you demonstrate your resilience in your essay? You say, during my Form 4 year, I was schooling at maybe GBHS Bamenda, and then midway or mid-year, due to the strike, we were forced to leave the region. And you missed out on school for 2 months. But now you came back to school, maybe here in Bafusam, after you've relocated, you came back to school and you got notes from your friends. You read those notes and you were able to pass your first exam. That is resilience. It is showing, all right? That narrative shows that you are resilient. So you should be able to show, not just tell. I hope the point is taken. So let's go now to our interview slide. How do you ace your interview? After you've written your essays, you've mastered your subject matter, there is an interview phase. And it's during that phase that most rejections are made. Because they may select maybe 50 candidates from the first round. Maybe from your stories, they've selected 50 of you, but after the interview, they retain just 20. So what happened to the other 30 that they rejected them? Let's look at the interviews. Quickly, I'm running behind time. So how do you ace your interview? Slide, please. How do you ace your interview? Media, are you with me? All right, review. Review your application from the other end. Now, when I talk of from the other end, what does it mean? Review it like, if I were the admissions counselor, would I accept this student? All right? That's how you should review your application. And you should be ready to share your experiences and your goals. Media, please. Can we go quickly, please? I'm running behind time. Media, are we there? Just leave it on the board, please. Back to acing your interview. Now, the second thing is you practice. After reviewing, you practice. simulate the interview in your mind. Talk in front of a wall. I used to do that a lot. Or I take a list of questions, right? Right? Questions that you should expect. Questions like, who are you? And when they're asking, who are you, they don't want you to come and say, I am Might Hour. And you end there. Or maybe I come from a family of 5. I have 3 brothers. I have 1 sister. No. When you are asked that kind of a question, they want to see the growth in you. They want to see what you want to build, what you want to become. You tell them what you envisage for your future. All right? So practice common questions. Think about your strengths and your weaknesses and your motivations. What motivates you to apply? Next point, share your vision and how the scholarship will help you to achieve your goals. So show passion. Next slide. Prepare questions. Now, this is a very tricky part in most interviews, but they will never tell you. When the interviewer has finished asking you the questions, they will now ask, do you have any questions for us? And at this point, most students will just say, none for now, thank you. Do you think you are helping yourself? Prepare questions. Now, this is what you do when you hear about organizations like this. Go to their website, look at their team. You do your research the way you can. You know what I did? I think this was my 2nd year. My interview was on Google Meet. It was a video call. So when he had finished, the person interviewing me was in Germany at the time. And he asked me, do I have any questions for the team? And in my mind, I was, no questions were coming. So I just popped the question. I said, sir, what inspired you to join the Urega Foundation? And he answered. He spoke a lot. So, depending on the mood of your conversation with your interviewer, you can know the kind of question to ask. But you should never leave without asking at least 1 question. All right? But don't also ask a question whose answer you can find on the website. You are doing yourself harm. Don't ask something that somebody could just Google it and find it. No. So, those are the kind of questions you should ask. All right. I think that's all. So, any questions so far? Do you have a question? I'm not an interviewer, so don't feel compelled to ask a question. Yes, there is a hand here, please.
Thank you very much. Please, is there any date for us to write the essays, or do we write it online and submit?
Now, as far as your essays are concerned, even on the website, they will write it there for you. They will advise you, write this in a text editor, then copy and paste. Because your form, your online form is a live web page. That means if you refresh it, you can lose all your information there. So prepare your essays in a separate file, in a separate Word document. Then when you are ready to submit, you open up your form, you copy the essays and paste in the browser. That's just it. Yes.
Please, sir, I wanted to ask that if you consider that, like, we're 30 of us, and in that 30 people, it's true that 20 people have 33 points, they have 25 points. And you, not like you're lazy, but you don't have that point. Then now, you come now to your story, and your story is like more powerful and empowering. And empower. What can the people do? Would they still reject you just because you don't have up to 33 points?
Very interesting question. There was something I forgot to mention earlier on. There are scholars who did not even manage to have 10 average, but they got in. So you see the difference lies in whether you are aspiring to do better. They want to see, maybe first term you had a 9 point something. Your second term you went up to 11. The third term maybe you are 13, 14. That growth, right? If you have that growth, even if at the GCE you did not have 33 points. The fact that that growth is shown on your transcript and you have a compelling story, you are showing them how they can help you to maximize your potential. You will get in. All right? Any other question? This is the last question for the day.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. I wanted to ask that if on your essay you have since you're supposed to show prove something that you did, and when you went for maybe a program, they did not give you any certificate of participation. How you prove it? Do you just write it, or you show pictures?
Now, in your application form, there is no way you would show pictures. That is where these recommendations come in. Your recommenders, they are those who will fill in the gap for you. So, given that you attended the event, you get a peer. This is what we call peer recommendation, right? You can get your friend to recommend, or you add his or her contact details on the form. Because the first time they were asking for recommenders to write letters. But after 2022, they started asking for their contact details. Because anybody can fake a letter, right? You can fake it and write and sign with somebody's signature. So they started asking for contact details. So you can get contact details of somebody you've attended the event with, somebody you've cleaned the community with, and they fill in the gap for you. Thank you. So that is all for my presentation. Thank you very much.
Wow.